How's it guys, Justin on Cars here and welcome back to another video. So today it is BMW M5. Before we get to the latest and the greatest, we'll see about that, we are actually just going to go through the history of BMW M5. So stick around to the end when we will talk about the G90 BMW M5. For now, we're going to go through the history, see where BMW started with the M5 and when, and also you guys can let me know what your favorite M5 is out of all of the generations from the beginning up until the now. I'm actually very excited for this video. I'm very excited for the M5 to come out so we can actually go and view the vehicle. But for now, we will just talk about it and see what it's all about. So before we get started, remember to like, subscribe and share with your friends so everyone can enjoy reviews of videos as well as informative videos like we are doing today. And stick around because it's going to be fun, guys. Also hit that notification bell so you can be notified on new uploads coming to you. So let's start with 1984. This is when the first BMW M5 came to market. It was called the BMW E28 M5. This was produced from 1984 up until 1988. Now guys, this is where it all started with the M5. Taking the business class BMW 5 Series and making it energetic and fun for all the adrenaline junkies out there. We all know even just the standard BMW is already such a fun drive, but driving an M is a complete different world. So the E28 BMW M5 actually came out with two different engines. Both of them are straight six normally aspirated engines. The one is the M88 and the other is the S38. The S38 was only sold in the United States of America and also Canada, which was a little bit down-tuned because of regulations and rules and all of that. The Europe version had a little bit more power. So the S38 engine in USA and Canada had 191 kilowatts and 330 newton meters of torque, which is already a lot for back in the 1980s. It is crazy. But even crazier is the M88 with 210 kilowatts and 340 newton meters of torque. Now that sounds like a lot of fun. At the time, the E28 M5 was the fastest production sedan worldwide. Isn't this like a common thing when the BMW M5 comes out? As soon as it's launched, it's actually the fastest sedan worldwide. It's always been like that, and that just blows my mind. BMW brings out the fastest and then they have the car for a few years, then they wait for the other manufacturers to bring out their cars, and then when the new one comes out, they just hit it again and bring out another fastest production car. I just love BMW. It's like they just always blow my mind. So funny thing, the S38 engine is actually the engine that will go forward with BMW. The M88 was the last time they used this in the M5, but it's also practically the same engine that was used in the M1 BMW, which was the first actual M car ever produced. We will also see how these M5s grew as we go along. So with this E28 M5, it came in at 1,410 kilograms on an unloaded weight or unladen weight. The E28 also came in a length of 4.8 meters and a width of about 1.7 meters. So 1,410 kilograms is literally nothing, guys. It is a very, very light car. But we will see as technology grew how heavier these cars get. So on to the next BMW M5 from 1988 to 1995, we get the E34 BMW M5. This is also where technology became a little bit different. And remember, the first one, E28, rear-wheel drive, this is also rear-wheel drive. The E34 also came out with the S38 engine. See why I said they are going forward with the S38 engine. But also two different models. So you got the 3.5 liter and then also the 3.8 liter. The 3.5 liter was only available in North America and the 3.8 liter obviously around the world. From 1988 to 1994, the E34 came out with a 5-speed manual box. And that's the other thing, guys. The E28 only manual, E34 only manual. In 1994 till 1995, that last bit of the year, they moved to a 6-speed manual, which is also incredible. So when the BMW M5 came out, they came out with 232 kilowatts and 360 newton meters of torque. So you can already see how that power jumped up, even using the S38 engine, which was the lower powered one in the E28, with the 0 to 100 in 6.3 seconds. Now guys, in the 80s, the late 80s and early 90s, that's a quick car. 6.3 seconds, that's blooming quick. Late 1991, like early or 1992 model year or year model, you still got the 3.8 liter and the 3.5 liter, but they bumped up the power a little bit. The 3.5 liter was then only available for the North American market as well as the South African market, where the 3.8 liter was for the Europe market. There we had a little bit of a jump on power. So from 232 kilowatts, we now get 250 kilowatts and 400 newton meters of torque, and a 0 to 100 in 5.9 seconds. So 0.4 of a second shaved off just because of that extra bit of power. This is also where BMW started playing around with your driving modes, or the button for the driving mode. So this had an S and a P section. Standard, the E34 had a self-leveling suspension, and then later from 1991 upwards or 1992 upwards, they changed to a solid suspension that you could just switch from simply switching a button. So from P, which is your comfort, and then obviously the S for the sport suspension, making it a little bit stiffer and more aggressive going around corners, just taking away that body roll. So looking at the size, jumping from the E28 with 1,410 kilograms, now the E34 comes in at 1,745 kilograms. So yo, that's already like 3 medium-sized people actually added onto the weight, which is crazy. That's why you needed that extra bit of power. But that extra bit of power didn't take away that 0 to 100, eh? That is still 5.9 seconds. It's just crazy how BMW do that. Lengthwise, it was actually a slight smaller car, from 4.8 meters to 4.7 meters, but the width jumped out a little bit with half a centimeter, so from 1.7 to 1.75. so slight changes. It's like almost like a more compact car, but a heavier car, but also a quicker car. Still a straight 6 engine. So let me know what you guys think about the E28 and the E34. I love the E28 just because it's an old school BMW, and those twin tailpipes in the middle of the rear of the car, that just looks fantastic. Now we're getting to my absolute favorite design BMW M5, the E39 M5. Now this is where BMW also started playing with the V8 engine, and this is a big V8 engine, guys, but this is an absolute stunning car. I absolutely love the look of this car. This is still today one of my dream vehicles to have in my garage. This was produced from 1998, so there was a 3-year gap from the E34 to the E39. From 1998 to 2003, the E39 was produced. Same scenario, also only available in manual, but now with the S62 V8 engine. The reason why I said it's a big V8, it's a 4.9 liter V8 engine. In today's world, we're looking at 4.4s and 4 liters, which is a little bit smaller than this big 4.9 liter V8. So this vehicle produced 294 kilowatts and 500 newton meters of torque with a 0 to 100 in 4.8 seconds, a whole 1.1 seconds quicker than the E34. Now this is where technology started kicking in. Still rear wheel drive, remember, and a 6-speed manual gearbox. It is also not much heavier than the E34, only 1,795 kilograms. So what's that, about 50 kilograms heavier than the E34, obviously because of that V8 engine. But that 50 kilograms did not make a change in this vehicle's 0 to 100 time, 4.8 seconds. And guys, now we're talking late 90s and early 2000s. Now that's flippin' quick. This is also where BMW took it around the Nürburgring and got an 8-minute 20-second time on the Nürburgring. That is till today, that's very quick. Obviously the cars grew a little bit, so this also comes in at about 4.8 meters lengthwise and 1.8 meters widthwise. So it's also 0.5 of a centimeter wider than the E34, but very much the same in length. I see they're not very far out in length. I think the E28 was 4.8, and then we got 4.7, and now we got 4.8 again. So lengthwise, they're very, very similar. And this is also where BMW started with the quad tailpipe. I mean, yo guys, that's just supercar territory. They did that for a reason. Back in those days, you could put your kids at the back with your dogs, your wife next to you, and you could still give a Ferrari a run for its money. And now we are moving to the screamer, the BMW M5 with a Formula 1 engine, or well, derived from a Formula 1 engine, the E60 BMW M5. Now this came from 2004 up until 2010. And this also came with an S85 V10 engine. And this is also where BMW started moving into the automatic side of the gearbox. So this is where you got your SMG box. And SMG stands for sequential manual gearbox. So it's an automated manual gearbox with a singular clutch. Not like in today's world where you get your dual clutch transmission, which is a dual clutch, but fully automated, of course. Around the whole world, you got the 7-speed SMG box. Only in North America you could get it in a 6-speed manual. I know of a guy here in South Africa that actually changed some of these M5s to manual using, I think it was a 540 manual gearbox, if I'm not mistaken, but I just know it is definitely doable. And this guy transformed quite a few of them, and that makes this M5 very fun to drive. So a massive power upgrade from the V8 that you got in the E39. 373 kilowatts. Now we jumped up just below the 400 kilowatt mark, where the E39 was just below the 300 kilowatt mark. Guys, that's insane. That's a massive jump from what we had before this M5. So 373 kilowatts and 520 newton meters of torque. And you guys know BMW engines can rev all the way through. So this car on high revs sounds insane. Just listen to this quickly. So with all that power, it didn't jump up in 0 to 100 a lot. From 4.8 with your E39, now you're doing a 0 to 100 in 4.7 seconds. The major change was not just from the 0 to 100 or anything like that. It's more when you're busy driving the car. So going into corners or actually already being at a certain speed or at a certain RPMs, that is where the big difference comes in with the torque and all of that. So if you put your foot down, then it just shoots up and picks up that speed like instantly. This M5 came with 3 different driving modes: P400, P500 and P500S. So not like in today's world where the power always stays the same. It just changes your throttle response and your steering response and all of that. So back in those days, they did change a bit on the power. So with your P400, you got 294 kilowatts. So very much the same as with your E39. But then with your P500, that's where it jumped up to that 373 kilowatts. And then your P500S, same amount of kilowatts, 373, but your throttle response is also a little bit quicker. So now that's what that M button did when you press that. So from 294 to 373 kilowatts, that's just crazy, guys. That's literally a whole small car just with one click of a button. This is also where BMW started playing with launch control because of this automated gearbox. Obviously you didn't get that in the manual, you only got this in the SMG version. This is also where the car got a little bit bigger. So lengthwise 4.86 meters, so almost 4.9 meters. And your width, very much the same as the E39, 1.85 meters. So it's actually exactly the same as the E39. The weight, however, jumped up from 1790 to just below 2000 kilograms, 1955 kilograms. Now that's a chunk of a car. I guess that's why they plonked that V10 in there. So even with this V10 engine being so fantastic and something different, there's also a big reason BMW never used this engine anymore. Fun fact, the S65 engine of the V8 version of the BMW M3 was actually based off this S85 engine, and both of them had issues with rod bearing failures. So BMW moved away from it pretty quickly, but these engines were one of the best screamer engines ever made from BMW. I mean, if this car just drives past you and you hear that, it's crazy. BMW just always know how to make your adrenaline pump. Your Nürburgring time, even though the vehicle is a bit heavier with that extra bit of power, jumped from 8 minutes and 20 seconds to 8 minutes and 13 seconds. So a whole 7 seconds killed with this E60 M5 BMW. To me, it's not the prettiest car in the world. I'm gonna be dead honest with you guys on that. But it is a fantastic, fantastic car. This is also where the luxury inside and everything changed quite a bit from where we are today. That's where the major switch began, in my opinion. Tell me what you guys think about it. I mean, you can comment and we can chat about it. Tell me what you think about the E60 BMW. Which one of these is your favorite up until now? Now we're getting to the more modern BMWs. So this engine spec is now is used till today. Obviously the engine has changed a little bit, but it is still used till today, or this version. So I think BMW tried this out, it worked for them. Obviously had a few issues in the beginning, but now it is so much perfected that they even brought out a newer one now with the G90, which we will get to a little bit later. So now we're getting to the F10 BMW M5, the comeback of the V8. Now this 4.4 litre V8 has twin turbos, guys, so two twin scroll turbochargers. I mean, when I was smaller, I would have never thought of putting two turbos on a V8 engine. I mean, isn't that already enough? No, not for BMW. Remember, they always need to be the quickest production sedan as soon as they launch that car. So yeah, let's plonk two turbos on a V8 engine. But it's not just that, guys. Remember, BMW at a stage said they will never go to turbocharged engine because a naturally aspirated engine is much smoother to drive. You don't get that turbo lag or anything like that. But now with the newer technology coming out and the world changing and emissions and all of that, BMW had to eventually go into turbochargers. So what they did was they also developed the twin scroll turbo, which made life a lot easier. So instead of having a smaller turbo and a bigger turbo helping with those revs or the turbo lag, they actually developed a turbocharger which is twin scroll. So it acts as the two turbochargers, a smaller and a bigger one, but all in one single turbo. That is a video for another day. But in any case, BMW wanted to make sure that you still get that naturally aspirated drive even though you have a turbocharged engine. So with this M5, you got the 4.4 litre V8, like I said, with the 7-speed dual clutch transmission. They've learned from the E60 with that SMG box, did not work that lacquer. You also got this version in a 6-speed manual. Again, only in the Americas, so only America and Canada. I don't know why, guys, I don't know why we didn't get it all over the world, because we all still want manual BMW M vehicles. It's just crazy. I mean, even the new M2 now still comes with a manual gearbox because that's a powerhouse, and obviously people love that. Bring back the manual, guys. What do you think? So this V8 engine was called the S63. You see how BMW used the S for the M engines and obviously the N version for the normal vehicles. So your 540, for instance, would have had an N63 engine. And now we are talking big numbers, guys. Remember, we were just below the 400 kilowatts. Now we're going to 412 kilowatts and 680 newton meters of torque. And this is only in the beginning of the F10 M5. This also gave this car a 0 to 100 in 4.4 seconds on the rear wheels only. Guys, and this is a scary car. Let me tell you, I've driven one of these quite a few times, and whew, it's a big car, so it loves swishing around. So going into a corner and you just plant it a little bit, it goes out immediately. And if you don't catch it, it will throw you out because it's such a heavy car. So driving without your traction control in this car is really, really scary. But I mean, that's what you want in an M car. It is super fun. Like, every time I drive in that car, traction is completely off, or DSC is completely off, and I just go for it, guys. It is so much fun, and it pumps your adrenaline because you have to be alert at all times. It's not a naughty car like the M3, for instance. It's not going to kick you out all the time, but if you make it kick out, it's going to, and then you have to be very, very aware because it's such a heavy car. So in 2014, the BMW M5 Competition came out. That also pushed up the power a little bit to 423 kilowatts. Not massive, it's 11 kilowatts more, but it made a massive difference. Remember, like I said, it's on the rear wheels only, guys. So if you're driving this car, it doesn't always want to go straight. If you just plant it, it's going to do this, it's going to dance around. But I mean, who does not love that? From 2015 upwards, the M5 Competition came out with 441 kilowatts and 700 newton meters of torque. Now that is a major jump from your 412 kilowatts. And that is also even scarier, guys. I can't even explain it. I didn't get a lot of opportunities to drive the Competition, only the normal M5, but I've driven M5s with a power input with a little bit of a software upgrade, and that also pushes the power up because that's mainly what it is at the end of the day. No real internal changes, mostly software. And guys, let me tell you, it is such a dream car. Not my favorite looking BMW M5, I'm gonna be honest. To me it looks like a, I don't know, it's just a very bulky blob car at the end of the day. It's aggressive, it's fun, it's beautiful inside, it is a fantastic car, but not my favorite shape. like I just said. Size wise, it also grew a little bit. So from your E60 with 1955 kilograms, now we're looking at 1990 kilograms. So we just not touching on the 2000 kilograms. Length wise, we finally at 4.9 meters. And width wise, we're not by 1.9 yet, but we are actually at 1.89. So you might as well call it 1.9 meters. But even with that weight, and remember it's still on the rear wheels only, so it's a crazy car. But with that weight, it killed a lot of seconds on the Nürburgring time. So from 8 minutes and 13 seconds, we now went to 7 minutes and 55 seconds. So below the 8-minute mark. That is very quick, guys. Now we're getting to something out of this world. BMW really changed with this M5. Technology took over and BMW had to step up their game yet again. And now we're getting to the F90 BMW M5. And guys, let me tell you, this was a mean machine. So same recipe with the engine, the S63 twin turbo 4.4 liter V8. But now we got it in an X-Drive. X-Drive. That means 4-wheel drive. And yes guys, obviously X-Drive with the 4-wheel drive means the power goes from different directions. So if you take a corner for instance and one wheel is slipping a little bit, it will actually stop that wheel from slipping to get more traction so you can get around the corner much quicker. Not just for cornering, it actually helped a lot with your 0 to 100 times as well. So your F90 came out from 2017 up until 2023, and then obviously this year the newer generation came out. But let me tell you something, this is also where BMW moved away from your normal 5 series for instance. So your normal 5 series like your 540, 520D was the G30, part of the G series, which started with the 7 series, but they stuck to the F series for F90. I'm not too sure exactly why. I think because the M department moved away from the normal vehicle department, so they had their own sort of codes from there onwards. But even driving the G30, I took a 540 home the one time, and guys, let me tell you, it was such a phenomenal vehicle. If you look at the inside of the car, the way the car drives, the technology in the suspension and the driving of the vehicle with the non-hydraulic steering. By the way, your hydraulic steering stopped from the E60 upwards, so when you got the F10 you actually got the electronic power steering, where the E60 still had hydraulic steering. That's also a major change. But with the F90 they really worked a lot on that. So this car really feels insane when you go through the different drive modes. The F90 changed the game, guys. So standard, it had 441 kilowatts and 750 newton meters of torque. So same power output as the competition of the M5 F10, only with 50 newton meters more. Your 0 to 100 jumped from 4.4 seconds to 3.4 seconds. So another second shaved off from the 0 to 100 kilometers an hour time. Now that is just absolutely something phenomenal. Some guys actually got that car 2.8 seconds. Guys, they we're getting into hypercar territory. If the wheels and conditions are just perfect and that car hooks right, guys, it blasts off. And you can feel it when you're driving this car. Because it's also an X-Drive version and it's so stable on the road and all 4 wheels get that traction, you don't get that playful feeling and swift pull away. You get that hook, go, pull away. It is insane. If you don't keep your head up straight, you're gonna end up like this. So really made a massive difference. I absolutely love to drive the F90. Guys, it is such a complete different drive from any other M vehicle before that. It is very comfortable. You can take your family very comfortable with this car. And also if you put it into sport, it is very aggressive and very much an M vehicle. Yes, the weight is still there. Now you're getting 1982 kilograms from the F90 M5. So with the M5 F90, you also got the M5 Competition, and then at a later stage you got the M5 CS, which was also the fastest production sedan in the world. We'll get to that just now. But the M5 Competition boasted out 460 kilowatts and 750 newton meters of torque. So 460 kilowatts hooking up through all 4 wheels is just insane, guys. I really loved driving this M5. Even the competition is a little bit harder on the road compared to your M5 because the competition is a little bit more tuned in for track purpose driving. if that makes sense to you guys. Your CS got 467 kilowatts, so a little bit more jump, but also a much lighter vehicle. And the CS had a time from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in flat 3 seconds. So imagine what you would get in real life time if they got 2.8 seconds on a normal M5, which is stated at 3.4 seconds. I don't know why BMW does that, but I absolutely love it. They put it on paper that it's this much so everyone else do the same thing, and then you put a BMW on a track and then it just kills everything around it. So your M5 CS came in at 1,866 kilograms. So that's more than 100 kilograms lighter than your M5 Competition or just the normal M5. Also, your M5 now had a Nürburgring time of 7 minutes and 38.9 seconds. I mean, how quick is that? We're getting closer and closer to the 7-minute mark, and that's very quick on the Nürburgring, guys. If you can just imagine, that is a 20.8 kilometer track. So 7 minutes in 20 kilometers is ridiculous. Even just driving on a straight road, it is ridiculous to do that time in 20 kilometers. Let's give you an idea. Let's say you do 120 kilometers an hour. So that's an hour is 60 minutes. So if you divide that by 10, that is 6 minutes. Obviously 60 minutes, that's 6 minutes. And 120, that's 12. So 12 kilometers in 6 minutes. So imagine, and that's driving 120 kilometers an hour. So that time, 7 minutes and 38 seconds with a curvy drive and then some straights, to do 20 kilometers in that time is just mind-boggling. So yes, this car also grew a little bit. Now you're looking at a 4.96 meter length, so that's almost 5 meters. And finally we reached the 1.9 meter width. So yes, quite a chunky car, but I love the fact that this car is low and wide. It gives a proper stance on the road, and that back looks insane. One thing also that BMW changed with this version, even though it's the X-Drive, you could change it to only be rear-wheel drive. Have a look at this video of what you can do when you put it on rear-wheel drive only, traction completely off. Huh? Now that looks proper fun. It was. So with this M5, BMW also moved away from the DCT box. So now they use the very well known 8-speed ZF gearbox. So yes, with the 8-speed it's not as clanky as a DCT, but you can tune it to also be almost as quick. So when you actually have it in sport mode, you have a gearbox in sport and you press that pedal up, it does still push you into the seat. You can feel how instantly it changes. But when you put it into comfort or efficiency with an M vehicle and you just drive as per normal, it's a very comfortable drive. Not very difficult to use and also not very clanky when you have to pull away from a standstill at the traffic light or whatever the case may be. One thing you got in the F90 is also the G30 M550i. This is also where BMW started using M performance vehicles. So with the M performance vehicle, it's like a lightweight sort of M vehicle, but still part of the M division. So that also boasted 390 kilowatts. So if you look at the 390 kilowatts, what does that remind you of? Yes, the E60 M5 runabout there. So you still get more power than the E60 M5. You get a 4-wheel drive version of that, which makes this car super quick. I mean, just a lightweight M vehicle from 0 to 100 in 3.8 seconds. That is mind-boggling. So now remember, that uses the N63 engine. So N for Nelly, that uses the N63 engine and not the S63 engine. It's only with the newer M performance derivatives like your M60 where they actually use the newer S68 M derived engine. So yeah, things changed a little bit now coming into the future, but we'll get into that just now. One thing that I still liked about this F90 M5 is the fact that you also got the laser lights, which could shine up to 650 meters. That is crazy light technology. But unfortunately BMW had to move away from that due to rules and regulations in certain countries in the world, which just makes life a little bit boring. But LED lights are still phenomenal, and the new LED technology, remember laser lights are still LED, it's only when you have your high beams on at a very dark stage where the laser actually kicks in and then it shines so far. So you rarely actually used it, and with the LED technology today, we all know how proper that actually is. So now let's get to today. The car that we've all been waiting for in high anticipation is the brand new G90 BMW M5. This baby over here. Now guys, this really makes my heart race, because if you think about it, every generation BMW brings out a sedan or an M5 sedan, it is something out of this world. Now, yet again, they've done this. We've had a little bit of a taste of the engine and what it is capable of with the BMW XM, but that's a massive car. That's an over 3-ton car. That's a huge machine. So it will never compare to an M5 sedan. They are complete different worlds. Just excuse if you hear my dog bark in the background. He's a little bit cuckoo. So let's talk some spec first before we get into the design of this G90 M5. So yes guys, the power went up drastically. It is also a different engine. It is not the S63 anymore. It is now called the S68. Still very much the same. 4.4 liter twin turbo, twin scroll turbocharged engine. So the pudding stayed the same, they're just using a different ice cream. If that even makes sense. So still using the 8-speed ZF gearbox. Now you get 430 kilowatts and 750 newton meters of torque. Now you might be saying, Justin, you just said 430 kilowatts. Now that's a little bit less than what the F90 put out. Now that is correct. Yes guys, you are 100% correct. But now this car actually comes with a 48 volt mild hybrid battery, which on its own pushes out 145 kilowatts and 280 newton meters of torque. Now guys, that is almost the same power as a Polo GTI for instance. And that's just on the electric mode. So imagine, I mean, technology these days are taking over with a bang, and they are just making cars so much more interesting. Unfortunately, this does push up a little bit of the weight of the vehicle, but with that electric power helping with that turbo lag and that instant push when you put your foot to the pedal, it does not matter how heavy the car is. Yes, around the corner and all of that it will, but we'll get into that now. But having all of this power put together, you're looking at a total output of 535 kilowatts and 1000 newton meters of torque. Guys, the last time we've heard of 1000 newton meters of torque was back in the day with the Mercedes-Benz. I think it was the SL55 or something like that, if I'm not mistaken, with that V12 engine. But then they immediately moved away from that because that was too much power for that time to handle with that little bit of technology that we had. But with today's technology, with today's xDrive and four-wheel drive versions of these vehicles, 1000 newton meters of torque is now again available. And that's nuts, guys. Okay, we saw that with the Bugatti back in the day as well, since 2000 and whatever the case may be, 20 years ago or so. But this is a production sedan vehicle. We're talking about something where you can actually have your kids and your dogs and your grandma and everyone sitting in this car with you. Yes, you can have your grandma in a Bugatti as well, but you can have your grandma and your dogs and luggage and everything with you in this BMW M5. So that is really what makes this mind-blowing. So 0 to 100 time of 3.5 seconds, which is actually a little bit slower than the F90 if you ask me. That was 3.3 seconds, this is 3.5 seconds. But guys, we've got 5 fat blokes sitting in this car now because your weight jumped up to 2,445 kilograms. That's nuts. So I can imagine why they had to push a lot of power out of this vehicle, eh? That's crazy. That's 2.5 tons unloaded weight. So the five fat guys are not sitting in the car as yet, but if you have to load it with that, that's going to be a 3-ton car. That's just crazy, guys. So with all this weight, you can imagine that the car feels a bit bulky on the road when you're driving it. But no, that's where BMW's technology really takes over. So with this car, with that electric power, yes, your 0 to 100 is 0.2 seconds slower than a standard M5 F90. But when you're driving and you put your foot down, let's say from 80 to 120 kilometers an hour, that instant power of the battery is going to kick in before your turbo, and it's going to just put you into your seat, and it's going to pick up speed a lot quicker, because when you're in motion, obviously the car is lighter on the road, and now you've got more power, you've got electric power, you've got the turbos, you've got all the magic working together, so you can imagine how quick this car is. We don't have the Nürburgring times as yet. We're still waiting for that to come out. I cannot wait to see what that time is going to be, because I think that's going to be insane. But I think they're going to have to be a little bit careful around the road because of this heavy car. But with BMW's technology, you can see it's got fatter tires now, and it's got a lower stance. With BMW's technology, you can imagine that this car will still stick to the road. I mean, look at the XM. How heavy is that car, and how quick is that car still? So a fun fact with your electric mode, I think it's an 18.6 kilowatt an hour battery, but with the electric mode only, you can go up to 140 kilometers an hour. So if you're driving on the highway, for instance, you can switch off the main motor and drive in electric mode 120, 130 kilometers an hour and save a lot on your fuel consumption. And you can do that up to 69 kilometers on the electric mode only, which is not bad at all. If you think about it, if you live in Joburg and going to Pretoria, that trip around, if you do, you can actually go to Joburg and back from Pretoria and do that on electric mode only. Unless you have a charger at work and you can do that, you can actually drive around in electric mode all the time. I wouldn't do that in an M5, let's be honest about that. I will always be with the V8 on to have all the power at all times. But remember, when your battery goes dead, you still need to charge it to get that full power if you really want to enjoy your BMW M5 G90. So just to give you an idea of the fuel savings and what BMW claim you will actually get on this vehicle with your WLTP ratings. What's it? Worldwide harmonized efficiency, worldwide harmonized efficiency, blah 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 blah. With the F90, you got an average fuel consumption of 10.6 liters per 100 kilometers, which is actually very good for a V8 if you think about that. But with this G90, BMW claim 1.7 liters per 100 kilometers, which is nothing, which will cost me, let's say, $30 for every 100 kilometers. I don't really know about that, guys. I mean, possible, yes. I think you can get it there if you drive in electric mode all the time. Then it switches over to the engine, and then you still keep it at that same constant speed while it's charging the battery, and then obviously going back into electric mode again. If you do that over the 100 kilometer period, you might get there. But I know for a fact, driving an M5, you're not going to get there. You're going to drive half a tank in 100 kilometers because you're going to put your foot down. It's an M5. Come on, let's just be real about it. And if you drive an M5, who the bloody hell cares of the fuel consumption? I mean, you're buying this car to have fun in this car. No one gives a damn about 1.7 liters per 100 kilometers. Yes, it's cool for technology and where we are going in the world and blah, 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 blah. But let's be real about it. It ain't gonna happen. So I think enough talking. Let's jump into the G90 M5. Let's just have a look at the vehicle. I just want to see what this vehicle is all about. So looking at the front of this car, I absolutely love the look of it. It is very, very low to the ground. I think the width of the car, that wide stance, and yes, it is actually a bigger car. You are now actually finally looking at a 5 meter length in total and almost a 2 meter in width. So that's almost as wide as a bus. That's crazy. A bus is like 2.5 meters, so that's really almost there, eh? But in any case, looking at this car, I love the fact that the bonnet slants down. So you know BMW always gives that shark feel and look to it. So with this wide bumper and wide body, the slanted nose, it gives that flat sort of design with the lights also moving in toward you. It really looks very aggressive. The new open kidney grille also, I love the fact that BMW didn't move to this massive kidney grille. They stuck to the original shape of the kidney grille, which I absolutely love. But making it one big kidney grille actually looks very aggressive. It really looks like it's going to suck in the dog that runs across the road when you're driving toward it. It's just going to go gone. No dog. No animals were harmed in this video, I can promise you that. But when you tilt the car a little bit to the side, like you can see on the screen over here, it looks insanely good. I love the new 5 Series when it came out, but I wasn't very fond of the look of it until this M5 came out. I haven't seen it in real life yet, but just seeing it on videos, this is one of the first BMWs in a very long time that I actually really like from photos and videos. So just imagine what it's going to look like in real life. If you look at the complete side of this car, the slanted bonnet giving that lower center of gravity in the front look and feel, the 20-inch rims with this big body and with the back slanting down and giving this up scoop here by the boot or the tailgate really looks phenomenal to me. It even has a little bit of a slant going down like that, and that really gives me a NASCAR look and feel to it. So very aggressive. I love it when a car has a back that doesn't just go straight down or sinks in like this. It actually goes out a little bit because it gives that aggressive I'm here stance, you know. That little wing at the back there, really, that ducktail wing really does it for me. And at the bottom with the diffuser, I absolutely like that because it also sticks out. So it gives that Need for Speed vibe like we used to know in the Need for Speed 2 days, or that Fast and Furious vibe where you have this big diffuser at the bottom and it just pops out like that. Oh, guys, it's, yeah, okay. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm gonna say, even though the E39 was my favorite looking BMW, the F90 is my favorite driving BMW, I think that this is going to absolutely kill it in real life. I think it's going to drive immensely, and I think it's going to look insane. I can't wait to take you guys to one and actually show you guys talking about the car while we're actually sitting with it. The fact that the door handles are also flush, it gives this car a very much more streamlined look and feel to it as well. So you can imagine the aerodynamics. You can see this car cuts through the air. It doesn't just drive through the air like any normal car, it cuts through the air. Coming to the back of the car, I love the thin design tail lights. That to me is really beautiful. And when they are on with the darker lighting, guys, it looks stunning. It really looks so immensely evil. I don't want to say evil, I don't like using that word, but it does. This is the only angle you'll see in this car, unless it drives past you. This is most probably the only angle you will ever see of this car, so that's why BMW had to make sure that this looks tip top, eh? I love it how the car goes out and also goes in at the same time, and has a boxier shape at the bottom with the quad tailpipes. I don't know how to explain it to you guys, but this car looks insanely aggressive and wide. It looks like it's planted to the road, and it just hugs the road as it's driving because it needs all that traction to put down all that power. 1,000 Newton meters of torque. I mean, really, like, how much do you need? It's funny to me that BMW hasn't used the new BMW badge as yet on all the newer cars. They're still sticking to the old badge. They changed a little bit on the M or the M5 badge. That does look a little bit different. So you can see they're moving toward the new M logo or look, but the BMW badge still stays the same, which is pretty weird, but I love that because it's a BMW. It needs to stay a BMW. Fun fact about this car also, you now get carbon ceramic brakes as a standard. I mean, if the M5 Competition was 2.5 million rand, I wonder what this one is gonna cost. Most probably 3 bar upwards. I definitely think it's gonna cost 3 bar and more. It's gonna be, let's be honest, cuck expensive. Your interior upgrade is insane. I mean, guys, let's be honest, the F90 looked beautiful on the inside, still had that BMW look. This completely changes the game. It still has that BMW look and feel to it, that simplicity, you know, driver orientated with the curved screen. It still has all of that, but it looks completely different. It's so much more futuristic. To me, these days cars get a lot of ambient lights. I mean, I like it. I used to like when I get into a car, it must be dark inside and with your orange BMW lights. I used to love that. That was my favorite thing about BMW. Yes, I like ambient lighting as well. It is nice, but it was nice when it had the thin line. Now all these graphics and everything is coming into play, and to me, kind of, it feels like a playground for kids at the end of the day. I don't know. I'm not a very big fan of the new ambient lighting. It looks pretty awesome. I mean, it's very appealing, and the way BMW do it, they build it in so it looks seamless. I like that, but I just don't like that plastic finish on top of it. I don't know, to me it's just a little bit different, but let me know what you think about it. I mean, we all have our own different opinions. I like the fact that BMW kept to the iDrive controller with this BMW or with this 5 Series, and not just completely move to touchscreen like in your smaller derivatives like the X1 and 1 Series. I like the fact that you still get your iDrive controller. That to me is a must, because I hate reaching for the screen. I like just, you know, doing my things over here. And on the steering wheel, that to me is perfectly fine. I like that they still kept the M1 and M2 buttons. It really looks like a fighter plane in there. I love it. And the steering wheel looks proper. Even if it's cut at the bottom, it's still a beautiful car. I actually like the fact that it's cut at the bottom a little bit, because it gives that race car feel to it. So that to me is quite a nice touch. But the interior is a very big upgrade in this car, and it looks fantastic. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love it. The finishes, the look, probably the smell. I don't know about the smell as yet, but I know for a fact those lights, I don't know, it's just my thing. I would like something hidden and just gives a subtle light. That's nice. These lights are kind of boom, here I am. And when it's red, it's flippin' red. But guys, that is it from me. I just wanted to take you through the history of BMWs, talk a little bit about this new G90, but let me know what you think about it, guys. Let me know what you think. What's your favorite BMW M5? What generation? And let me know what you think about the G90. I would love to hear what you guys think about it. Some of you out there in the world has seen this car already. I'm very jelly about that. I also want to see this car so bad. I actually want to sit in it and feel it as well. Not just feel it, but feel it. That would be fantastic. So BMW South Africa, if you are hearing me, I am here, and you guys know I've always been a big supporter. Worked for you guys for 10 years, so come on. Hint, hint. But guys, that's it from me. Let me know what you think. And guys, I just wanted to say thank you for all your support. I've been on leave for a little bit as well. I started a new work, so I just wanted to get all of that out of the way so I can focus a little bit more on the videos as well now. So I just wanted to get a little bit of a life balance, work, you know, still a normal human being. Have to work to get the money to be able to do these videos. So guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys have a lucky day further. Stay safe. And remember to hit that notification bell so you can see the new uploads, and subscribe. Peace.